to beat. The Jiffy Lube signature service helps your auto fire on all cylinders like an all-star. With a comprehensive preventative maintenance to check, change, inspect, and fill essential systems, keeping your vehicle game ready for trips across town or across the country. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, locally owned and operated with 3 Fargo locations for speed and convenience, and no appointment needed.
Joining us on this afternoon, 106 right now, 21 degrees outside the FM Metro, north wind at 15 miles per hour. Chicken. I do want a bucket of chicken. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm. I'm here with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, and I got some very important news for all of you. Listen very carefully here. Just before the show started, I got notified by Dean that I was fired.
I did.
So
wait, where did the notice go? Oh, here it is. Right here.
Yeah, you told me I was fired.
You're fired.
Camera, Dean.
Right.
Yeah, right there.
Right
so
there,
I told other one. There you go. There we go. So I told him he'd have to do this show all by himself today.
Well, what happened?
And he got nervous and told me that I was rehired. But now, see, here's the thing, Dean. I was fired. Now I'm being brought in as a new employee. We're going to have to renegotiate this contract and pay, vacation, duties. You're trying.
Guess what? I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell. Guess what? I got a fever.
So, we'll see about that. We'll work on that.
just push a button. You'll get one that works.
One of those.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dean, we outside of being fired, that whole conversation, we'll talk about that after the show.
We will. We'll renegotiate your contract.
We'll get a price set, and that's good for both of us, mainly in my favor.
I know the owner, Hallstrom's not going to be happy about this, but he'll get over it.
Hey, you have the power. You made an executive decision.
I did,
and now
we'll stand
there
by
are consequences that will have to
be
better because of that. But we had some snow last night, Dean, and really, for the most part, it was about 1 to 3 inches of snow. Most of us picked up about 2 or 3.
Yeah, we picked up.
And the highest amounts that I'm seeing is about 4.5 to 5 in a couple localized areas around Detroit Lakes. That'd be Vergas and Frazee, respectively. But what did you see the official reading was? I'm seeing reports anywhere from about 2.5 to 3 in the FM Metro.
It was right around 3 inches here. I haven't gotten the official measurement from Daryl yet, but it was right around 3 inches. I know that. So, what?
We picked up about 3 in Grand Forks.
Yeah. And it was a light snow. It wasn't blowing around. Not a lot of wind with this. There's been a few gusts here and there, close to 20, but other than that. We haven't had to deal with the blowing and drifting of the snow. Now, the next few systems that come our way, especially the one on the weekend, that's going to be a problem because we're going to have a lot of wind with that and a burst of some pretty moderate to occasionally heavy snow as a pretty strong clipper system comes our way. But first, we have to deal with a weaker system coming in here. As we head into tomorrow. I think the morning commute tomorrow is going to be fine, but as we head into the afternoon, we'll start to see that snow develop. Most of it pretty light. We could see a few pockets of moderate snow towards evening. So your evening commute tomorrow could be a little slippery, kind of similar to this morning. Not looking at a lot of snow out of that. It will be a little breezier, though. With east-northeast winds gusting up to 25, and that'll cause a little bit more blowing and drifting as we head towards evening, but only about 1 to 2 inches of snow. But, again, with the wind, then you've got the additional snow. You've got about the 3 inches already on the ground. That'll be blowing around a little bit tomorrow evening rush, and then we'll see a break on Friday. And then the bigger system comes in on Saturday and Saturday evening, and that looks to pull a lot of wind out of the south with it, and so those east-west roadways are going to be a little problematic as we head into Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. I think we'll see the precip shut off as we head towards evening, or at least towards midnight as the area of low pressure comes overhead. We'll see the winds die down, and then the winds whip around out of the north on the backside of that system for Sunday, with a few isolated snow showers, but I'm not expecting a whole lot in the way of accumulation on Sunday, but wind's going to be a real problem on Sunday as well. So windy Saturday and Sunday, that means a lot of blowing and drifting of the snow this weekend. So if you have any travel plans, this weekend. Keep up to date on the forecast because it could be a little bit tricky around here. Not a whole lot of snow, maybe another 3 to 4, maybe 3 to 5 inches additional on Saturday, but it's the wind that's going to cause the problem with that. And did we lose Justin's mic? I think we lost Justin's mic there.
Yeah,
there
that's
we go.
my bad. I'm sorry. I was going to say, what are the odds that Bridgette has some traveling on Saturday? Because it seems like whenever we get bad weather, Bridgette's always out and about. I'm just starting to think that she's the cause of it.
It's probably. In fact, if you're wondering,
anytime she leaves the house,
something happens. Well, she's on a plane today, so that's why Bridgette's not going to be able to join us. We're hoping to get her at least by phone if her plane lands on time. But last word from Bridgette, they were delayed in taking off out of Minneapolis, so she's heading down to Miami, heading somewhere. At least she's got that right. She's heading in the right direction anyway.
Yeah, she's going down there. I think it was Orlando, but close enough. Same spot, Florida. I wonder if I think Jay's picking her up from the airport.
Is he? Okay. Well, I know Jay.
I think he said he might yesterday during our LRC special that we did yesterday.
That's right. And we want to thank everybody also for tuning in or watching us live stream yesterday. We had a lot of great feedback. And again, if you have any questions that maybe you missed the LRC, we've got that online right now. And I believe, Justin, you're kind of chopping that up, kind of cutting out all the commercials and all that stuff, correct?
That is on the list of things to do, as well as and I'm not hating on this because I love that people sent us emails asking us questions, but we've only made a small dent into about the 600 emails y'all sent us yesterday. So be patient. We'll get to them just in the time we got them.
We want to thank everybody for replying with emails or calling the show. And again, if you have any questions, maybe you missed out on part of the LRC forecast, you're more than welcome to give us a call today, 701-293-9000, or shoot us an email if you have any questions at weather@flagfamily.com, or if you have an ag question, ag@flagfamily.com. It was a pretty interesting conversation with Gary, and if you missed it, we'll kind of recap it for you just in kind of a Cliff's note version. The spring,
the LRC works.
Yes.
How? It's magic.
But it looks like the spring and summer for our ag community. It's looking like in and around the valley, precip pretty close to above normal, a little bit above normal for most of us. And with the wetter conditions down into areas of Lakes Country and into southern Minnesota, and then that stretches southeastward, or southwestward, I should say. Kind of the same target area that's been hit over the winter. We'll get the heavier amounts of precip in the spring and summer. And that's not a bad thing. They've been in pretty bad drought conditions in southern Minnesota. This will definitely help alleviate that. For our friends out into the central and western part of the state, pretty close to normal precip. As you get to the far western part of the state and into South Dakota, in the western parts of South Dakota, you might have a little slightly below normal precip, but pretty close to average over the spring and summer. And temperature-wise for this summer, looks to be cooler than normal out in the western and central parts of North Dakota, and that'll bleed down into South Dakota as well. But you get to the eastern part of the state, into the valley, and into western Minnesota, and it looks like we'll have temperatures pretty close to normal, and at times a little bit above normal, but a cooler than normal spring and summer out to our west. So I guess if you're sick of the heat, head west. They'll have a cooler than usual summer out to our west. So all in all,
there's
no expanding drought in our area, so that's good.
Couple of systems to keep an eye on to come early in the month of April. And I think one of them is going to play a role in just your classic springtime storm. You get the severe weather on the front side. That'll probably be in the central U.S., maybe extending into southern Minnesota. And the backside, well, you probably can take a guess. It'll more than likely be snow and or blizzard conditions. So that'll be something that we'll keep an eye on. And I believe, let me just pull out my cheat sheet right here. You can't see it. This is classified information. That would be right at the tail end of March. Gets a little wet, and then it looks like the second week of April is going to be when that storm will hit. So something to keep an eye on. It might be something that delays a few of us from getting in the fields a little early.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a late planting season like last year due to the fact of the snowpack. Now, areas out to our west might, we'll see, but it doesn't look like an early planting season, that's for sure. And I think we highlighted yesterday our last freeze potential was coming, I believe it was late April. Is that correct, Justin? I think it was right around
mid to late April. And that would make sense because if that big storm comes through and it rips down the remaining cold air, at least the winter cold air, Arctic air, out of Canada, that makes sense because we would get pretty cold during that and we'd have a chance for frost and freeze. So that's part of the reason why it's that mid to late April would be the last chance, likely chance for freezing or frost conditions.
Yeah, wish we had a better news in terms of being able to get out in the field earlier, but with all this snowpack, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while to melt this, and we'll get there. We'll get to spring, but it's not going to be an early one, unfortunately, not this year.
Yeah, but I think the summer will play out nicely.
It really will.
In the farming and ranchers' favor.
And we can, again, if you missed it yesterday, we kind of hit on WeFest looks good. Only a slight chance of an isolated storm or two. Heading out to Sturgis, that looks good and hot and rather dry. Yeah, hot and dry out for Sturgis this year. Memorial Day looks a little wet. 4th of July, a few hit and miss storms. Although there was no big storm, there's a possibility of one coming around that 4th of July time frame. And we didn't touch on Labor Day. We'll touch on that some other time, but we didn't.
Here's your Labor Day right here. It's,
did you get it out through
sunny? This is just how every Labor Day is. It is sunny, beautiful. Rent the pontoons now. Get on the lake.
There you go.
And make sure you scream Labor Day.
Yeah,
all day.
Yeah. So we've got a guest coming up on our show this afternoon, and Erin,
that's the state director of the USDA Rural Development, and her name is Erin Oban.
Yeah, so Erin will be joining us here. But first we have to pay some bills, and when we come back, I don't see our guest on standby just yet. But again, when we come back, we should have our guest on air, and again, that will be Erin Oban. And if you have any questions while she's on air, 701-293-9000. We invite you to call in with your questions. We'll be back right after this.
Can you imagine a stress-free Sunday with family, friends, fun, and great food? You can have it when you make Barron's your new Sunday brunch headquarters. I'm telling you, it's a brunch like no other. First of all, customizable waffle bar. The kids will love it. Fresh scrambled eggs, thick cut bacon, all your favorites. Plus, while Mama sips on a mimosa, the kids can wear themselves out in the arcade at Kingpin's. It's a great start to a stress-free Sunday. Mention My Brunch Headquarters and receive 20% off Sunday brunch at Barron's. So make your Sunday stress-free, filled with great food, no cleanup, and most importantly, where family, friends, fun, and food come together for brunch at Barron's. Located off Highway 81 and 52nd Avenue within Kingpin's. Go to brunchatbarons.com. That's brunchatbarons.com for details. And don't forget to mention My Brunch Headquarters for 20% off. And experience your stress-free Sunday at brunchatbarons.com today.
It's time to think about your tax refund. And Jackson Hewitt wants you to think biggest. As in, we guarantee you'll get your biggest refund or your money back plus $100. Who offers that? Come to think of it, nobody. It's one of the biggest guarantees out there and why you can't just file with anybody. For your guaranteed biggest refund, go to Jackson Hewitt today. Your wallet will thank you. When every dollar matters, it matters who does your taxes.
3 little words no parent wants to hear.
My tummy hurts.
And it always seems to happen at the worst times. Like in the middle of the morning rush, when you still have homework to check and lunches to pack, and of course, you're already late for work. Luckily, there's Pepto Kids. Pepto Kids chewables provide fast relief for common stomach issues, turning those 3 words into these 3 words.
I feel better.
Bad time for stomach upsets? Good time for Pepto Kids chewables. Fast relief for little tummies. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooh.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Nancy Kelly Realty is here for you. We would love to show you around. Looking for the simplicity of country living? Then welcome home to Colfax Meadows in Colfax, North Dakota. An easy 25-minute drive from Fargo or Wahpeton. We have half and 1 acre lots starting at $22,500 with a 2-year tax exemption on new homes and low specials. Build your dream home, raise a family, or retire in the country. Colfax Meadows has a place for you. Find us at nancykellyrealty.com.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing pain, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or are experiencing pain or numbness in your feet, pick up the phone and call us right now before it's too late at 701-929-7545. Again, that's 701-929-7545. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. Eventually, it leads to balance problems, falls, complete loss of independence, and it can lead to amputation. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medication. In fact, many patients start experiencing relief from neuropathy symptoms within weeks. There's no surgery and no use of prescription drugs. Pick up the phone right now and call 701-929-7545. Call us today at Dakota Clinic of Chiropractic at 701-929-7545 today.
How long is the warranty on your car repair? Hi, this is Matthew Carlson, owner of Fix It Ford Auto Care. Every qualified repair at any of our 3 Fargo, Moorhead, and West Fargo locations is now covered by our extended 5-year, 60,000-mile warranty. Yes, you heard that right. 5 years or 60,000 miles. Peace of mind, just one more reason to choose Fix It Forward Auto Care. Ask your service advisor for details. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
It's the season truck buyers wait all year for. Chevy truck season at Pucklet Chevrolet GMC. We finally have a large selection of Chevy trucks that are now available with special event offers like the new 23 Chevy Silverado 1500. And now is a great time to order your new Chevy or check out our new inventory arriving daily at Pucklet Chevrolet GMC in Valley City or PuckletchValleyCity.com. Tradition, values, and family ties. Chevy, find new roads.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki along with meteorologist Justin Storm. We're still waiting for Bridgette's plane to land. She had a little delay in takeoff, but hopefully she has a safe flight down to warmer weather in Florida. But our guest today is Erin. Erin, I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. Oban, is that correct? Oban. Okay, Erin Oban.
Yep.
And Erin is, she's serving as the state director for USDA Rural Development here in North Dakota. We want to welcome you, Erin. How's your day going?
Well, thanks, Dean and Justin. It's nice to be with you. The day is good so far. You know, it's International Women's Day.
It is.
I was waiting at home to get a new washer, so my washer quit on me, and I was like, of course it's being delivered on International Women's Day.
Oh man. But
at least in my other time, I get the good fortune of being the state director here at USDA Rural Development. So it's an honor to be with you and to share with your listeners a little bit of information about some programs we thought they might be interested in.
Yeah, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, Erin, how you came. You used to be a representative here in North Dakota, and how did you become the director of rural development? How did that come about?
Isn't life strange?
Right?
I actually was trained as a math teacher. So I started my professional career as a middle school math teacher, which I feel like prepared me in ways I had no idea would prepare me to enter into politics. So I was elected to the North Dakota Senate, where I served for 7.5 years, and was invited by the White House to serve in this role. And had to resign my legislative seat a little earlier than I would have liked. I had made the decision not to run for office again, but wanted to continue in public service, and this has been an incredible opportunity to do that.
So what exactly do you do in your position right now?
I support a team of professionals who, so ultimately what I've learned in my time, almost a year, I've been in the job almost 1 year, is that many North Dakotans are really familiar with USDA, mostly through some of our sister agencies like the Farm Services Agency or NRCS or the Food and Nutrition Service. And fewer of them are as familiar with rural development and really the significant impact that we have in investing in rural communities. So ultimately, rural development operates very similarly to a bank. We provide financing options and money to support technical assistance in the form of grants, loans, and loan guarantees to rural communities, small businesses, cooperatives, and to support home ownership, all in rural communities. So that's what we do.
Interesting.
That is super interesting. And you guys have...
Last fiscal year, we obligated more than $531 million into North Dakota's smallest towns and tribal communities. So that's why I think, after being here for a year and working with the team here, I've realized this is one of the best kept secrets, and my job is to make sure that it's not really a secret.
That's super cool. Well, with that you said it was $531 million that has been invested into small towns across North Dakota, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is a good chunk of money. And you were kind of describing it a little bit, but within that money that goes to these towns, what is it, again, being used for that betters the towns and improves their development?
Sure. So one of our colleagues here on the team in North Dakota describes it, the programs at Rural Development, that we could almost build a town from the ground up, and including some of the things that are underground. So when you think about the things that build community, you need water. We have water and environmental programs that help communities to actually deliver quality drinking water and to remove waste from those communities. We have community facility program that funds, if you have ever driven through small towns in North Dakota, any of them that have a hospital, a healthcare, a pretty substantial healthcare presence, we often help them finance the building of a hospital, of a clinic, of any sort of healthcare provider. So Cooperstown, Candu, Northwood, Jamestown, all of those communities, Rugby, just in the last fiscal year, worked with us to be able to finance new hospital projects in those communities. We also have business and cooperative programs, high-speed internet programs. We fund the infrastructure for rural electrics to deliver electricity to rural communities. So lots of different ways that those dollars are used.
Well, that's super interesting. I had no idea there was something like that.
Yeah.
So you just informed one person already.
Well, good. I'm doing my job.
And Erin, when you say rural communities, is there a certain size that rural community has to be? Like there's a cutoff on that you can help out?
Yeah, that's a question we get asked a lot. A lot of those limitations are determined by Congress, and then we follow the rules that are set for us. But in North Dakota, it's pretty easy to tell what communities are going to be eligible for our programs and which ones aren't, with a few very minor exceptions. If you exclude our largest communities of Fargo, Grand Forks, Bismarck, Minot, those are communities that rarely are eligible for rural development programs. A lot of them are for populations of 20,000 and under. Some are 10,000 and under. So, that's most of North Dakota. Most of North Dakota towns.
Right. And do you find a lot of those towns, since you've been on board here for about a year, do you find a lot of those towns struggling at all?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I think the challenges of living and thriving in rural communities are more pronounced because of lesser access to resources. Mm-hmm. When you think about, projects in our larger communities, even building a house, it's easier to find a home builder who's going to make money building a house in Bismarck than it is to find one who will drive out, 3 hours from here and be able to make money building a house in a small town. So those challenges are just that much more difficult when it comes to resources, workforce. But I tell you what, the people deserve as great a quality of life and access to resources as those of us who live in larger communities do. And more often than not, their leadership and their community spirit is more willing to look at all of the different options to make it happen.
Right. And I had a couple of quick questions before we hit bottom of the hour here, Erin.
Sure.
How, with this being done with these small communities, which is awesome, how difficult would it be for these smaller communities, the rural areas, to sustain themselves or to continue developing? How more difficult would it be without doing what you guys are doing?
Well, to be fair, we are not interested in making bad loans either. So we make loans to folks who can show that they have the ability to repay them. But if you look at Rural Development's portfolio, we are like the 12th largest bank in the country based on assets. And that's because there's greater ability to take on that risk that happens when you're trying to take on the costs, the extreme amount of costs that it takes, for example, to put fiber in the ground to deliver high-speed internet. There's a reason why rural places are so often left out by some of the largest companies, and it's because they can't make money putting that infrastructure in place to get really rural, really remote people service. So the federal government makes money available to make that an actual viable option for places like North Dakota.
Right. And that's a really big thing that's going on right now within North Dakota itself, is trying to get that high-speed internet across the entire state. And I want to say, this is what I heard, is that they want to be the first state that every single person has access to high-speed internet. Is that correct? So is that the main thing that you're seeing the money being asked for or used for?
That is, so I will give credit to North Dakota. They were ahead of the curve in trying to deliver high-speed internet to really rural places. Now, through the passage of the bipartisan infrastructure law in Congress, which both of our U.S. senators supported and the president signed, that appropriated more dollars to create a really targeted program for grant money and low-interest loans to find those pockets of places in North Dakota and all across the country that have yet to be developed and to deliver the level of high-speed internet service that people deserve to be able to function in 2023, really.
Yep.
I mean, you basically almost need it in today's world. And even with agriculture, there's being such a high demand for the technology increasing, the Wi-Fi, the GPS, it's all just becoming electrified, which is amazing, but you need to have access to it in the first place. Well, Erin, we're going to hit bottom of the hour real quick. A few minutes past, that's all right. We're speaking, by the way, with Erin Oban, Director of USDA Rural Development. If you have any questions for her or us, feel free to do so. Give us a call, 701-293-9000. Again, that phone number, 701-293-9000, or you can reach us via email at weather@flagfamily.com. Stay tuned, because we'll be right back.
The Jay Thomas Show.
How's it going today?
Good. How you doing?
Not too bad.
Good.
Hey, I got an old buddy of mine named Tim Gast. He's probably about a late 50s, early 60s vintage. He doesn't work very hard or very long, but he does still work.
Uh-oh. We got a situation.
I'll leave that at that. Thanks, Jay.
The Jay Thomas Show, weekday afternoons at 2 here on WDAY.
Remember when Dad took you to the implement dealer in town and you walk into the dealership and there it was, aisles and aisles of all those cool farm toys? Feel like that again, making those memories with your own kids and grandkids at the 2nd Annual Greater Grand Forks Farm Toy Show, March 10th and 11th at the Alara Center. Admission's only $6 and kids 12 and under are free. See one-of-a-kind toys made by local craftsmen and aisles of those cool farm toys. The 2nd Annual Greater Grand Forks Farm Toy Show at the Alara Center, March 10th and 11th.
If you're tired of the censorship of conservatives, here's the latest. David Horowitz, the famed author and conservative thinker, just posted a YouTube video talking about voting irregularities in the 2020 election, and his video was banned from YouTube. In his new bestseller, The Final Battle, David Horowitz is warning America that big tech and their social media are destroying America and threatening our freedoms. Horowitz says companies like Facebook, Twitter, Google, and YouTube control the information flows, and they're censoring your news. In The Final Battle, Horowitz also warns that a group of secret players are working to change America. Mike Huckabee says you must get this book. Newsmax calls Final Battle the book of the year. Get Final Battle in bookstores, or check out the free offer and save $28 by calling 800-NEWSMAX, 800-NEWSMAX, or go to finalbattle611.com, finalbattle611.com to get your free copy today.
Last year's fertilizer cost too much. This year's fertilizer still costs too much. So maybe next year, instead of paying whatever the market dictates, you should find a new source. Source from Sound Agriculture unlocks more of the crop nutrients that are already in your soil, so you can use less fertilizer and capture the yield you count on to turn a profit. I said to turn a profit. That's more like it. Learn more at sound.ag.
Over 2.8 million Americans have served in our military since 9/11. Many have returned home with devastating injuries and few resources for them and their families. This is news correspondent Bob Woodruff. I sustained a life-threatening injury while reporting from Iraq in 2006. The military had my back that day, and they have each other's while serving. It's time we had theirs. Please join us as part of the Got Your Six initiative. To learn more, go to gotyoursix.org using the number 6.
What do eyewear and weather have in common? Join us for the Aspire Optical Eye on the Sky weekly weather forecast to find out. Each Tuesday morning, Dean Wysocki, Justin Storm, and myself, Ashley Freeborn, owner of Aspire Optical, will bring you the 7-day forecast.
You never know where we'll be or how it will be presented, but we promise to bring you the most accurate forecast this side of the Red River.
And learn how you can save big on eyewear from Aspire Optical.
Watch the Aspire Optical Eye on the Sky weekly weather forecast on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter pages.
Trust us, this is weather and eyewear like you've never seen.
Olivet Lutheran Church in Fargo invites you to join us for worship Sunday mornings at 8:30 and 10:30 and Wednesday evenings at 6. During this time of Lent, our theme is No Greater Love, where we will reflect on God's love for us through the death of Jesus on the cross. Our sanctuary is also open Wednesdays during lunch for individual reflection and prayer, where you can light a candle, leave a prayer at the cross, or simply be still. For more information and to watch all of our services online, go to olivet.org.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us at 1:39 this afternoon. We're speaking with Erin Oban, and if you have a question for her, you feel free to give us a phone call and ask that question, 701-293-9000. And Erin is the director of the USDA Rural Development. We were talking about some of the grants for rural development and the high-speed internet, but there's other programs that you're focusing on, isn't there?
There are, and I wanted to talk directly because I know this is kind of an ag-focused segment. I wanted to talk about 3 opportunities that really impact our agriculture producers and that sector. So thanks for the opportunity to talk a little bit about it. The first would be our Rural Energy for America program. The acronym for that is REAP, R-E-A-P. That supports any efforts that an ag producer or a rural small business would make to reduce their energy consumption and make their operation more efficient, or to produce renewable energy, like likely through the purchase of a commercially available eligible technology like solar, wind, geothermal. So REAP offers grant funding of up to 40% of your total eligible project costs to make those upgrades and improvements more affordable for you. And a number of North Dakota ag producers across the state have already utilized this program. Places like Flasher, Gwinner, Devils Lake, Hankinson, Willow City, Kenmare. Ag producers have used this to replace lighting, heating, cooling, ventilation, to install more efficient grain dryers, use automated controls to bring, again, down the costs of their operations. So that is one program. And with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, directed an additional $2.2 billion to rural development for REAP through 2031. So we're really excited about the opportunity to be able to serve more North Dakota producers and rural small businesses with that increase. And the average grant size across the country has been $50,000. So the more I'm able to share that opportunity, and our team is able to share that opportunity, the more interest there really is in making a jump to something that a lot of producers know they have to do, or they've been waiting to do, and this is kind of an incentive to do it.
Interesting. And Erin, we have a caller called in. They didn't want to go on the air, but they said they wanted to ask where you get your funding from. Is it from the Ag Bill?
So the Farm Bill it does support some of the funding for rural development programs. Actually, most of the funding for rural development programs comes through the omnibus bill. So a lot of the policy directing us to administer programs has language in the Farm Bill, but most of our funding comes from the omnibus bill.
Now, with the Farm Bill, I believe that's coming up later this year. Any worries about the Farm Bill passing, and is there anything in the Farm Bill that you would like to see introduced?
I don't want to have to worry about the Farm Bill passing, and I am in a position where I can't lobby for anything. My job is to advocate to North Dakotans the opportunities that exist because of the passage of these kinds of legislation. So what I want is for rural development to be able to keep doing its good work, and the Farm Bill allows us to do that. I don't know if it's okay if I talk about a couple other programs, because I don't want to run out of time, and I want to make sure your listeners know that. Okay.
Yep.
The Value-Added Producer Grant is another opportunity specific for ag producers with two purposes. One is a maximum grant of $75,000 to use for planning. Feasibility studies, marketing plans, business plans. If you want to take what you already grow, produce, raise, and add value to it to create a new market, essentially. The other is a maximum of $250,000 for working capital to cover those processing costs, marketing costs, and advertising. So for folks who want some really concrete examples, North American Bison near New Rockford utilized this program to open an export market into Mexico. Cows and Co. Creamery near Carrington accessed this program for working capital to turn the milk from their dairy farm into gelato and cheese. They opened now a retail store, a coffee shop. They're expanding into Bruhala in Fargo. So somebody who's already an egg producer who wanted to use what they produce to create something new to sell. And Shepherd Industries in Nome also use that to process the wool from the sheep that they raise and create market felting kits that now they sell out of the Nome schoolhouse that they remodeled. Applications for that value-added producer grant should be open any day. So if that sounds of interest, let us know. You can search for us at USDA RD North Dakota, rd.usda.gov /ND, or just Google the value-added producer grant from rural development. And then the last way that we're really helping rural development specifically, USDA is investing $1 billion into expanding local meat and poultry processing capacity. So within just the last number of months, we announced a grant of almost $500,000 to a meat processor down in Little Mott, North Dakota. And that is specifically a program that goes to processors themselves. And we also have granted $15 million to the Lewis and Clark Development Group in Mandan, who will use that to establish a revolving loan fund that any meat processor in North Dakota can access. So they would work with Lewis and Clark Development Group if they need a low barrier, hopefully low interest loan that they need to expand or to get into that field. So wanted to share those. Hopefully it's ways that we're targeting federal dollars with accountability tied to it to ensure that we address gaps in the food supply chain, and we help local producers either get into markets that they would like to get into or make their operations more efficient.
That's great. And Erin, if it wasn't
that is super awesome.
Yeah, if it wasn't for what you do, what would happen to our rural ag community?
So, I mean, I grew up in a town of 650 people in North Dakota. And I tell you what, they are some of the hardiest bunch of people you'd ever meet. When they see a challenge that they want to overcome, they'll figure out a way to do it. And oftentimes, whether I like it or whether I agree with it or not, there is this assumption that all government is bad, and that any access to a government program is somehow negative or a bailout or something. I mean, these programs exist for the purposes of literally improving people's quality of life. If a rural community is a place that they want to live and raise a family and grow old, and to be able to keep our producers on their land doing what they do best, so that they don't have to drive 3 hours to be able to access everything they want to access from a community.
Mm-hmm. Well, Erin, I want to thank you very much for shedding light on this program, what it is that you do, these opportunities that are available for rural North Dakota, which makes up most of the state, believe it or not, for most people. If people want to get more information about these different programs, how they can maybe apply for some of these grants, and a little bit more information just about what it is that you guys are doing, where is a website or a couple spots again that they could go to get that information, or to maybe get in contact with somebody or yourself?
Sure. So a couple ways. You can go to rd.usda.gov/ND. You can call us anytime, and there is no such thing as a dumb question. We can, if it's not something we do, we will at least give you, try to give you, a lifeline to somewhere else. Our phone number is 701-530-2037. And there's also a pretty cool resource that our national office just launched. It's the Rural Data Gateway. You can see investments from over the course of the last more than decade that rural development has made into rural communities across the country. And you can specifically narrow in on North Dakota to see what some of those investments look like. I don't even think I mentioned the fact that we have housing programs to support individuals looking to purchase a home in a rural community, looking to repair their home. So if those are things, if you're listening, because I know egg producers also typically are homeowners, if your house needs some repair and it's something that we can help with, give us a call. And again, if we can't help you, we'll try to give you a better place to seek it. But we'd be happy to be that resource for you in finding some solutions to any challenges you have.
Awesome. I think that's great. Thanks for sharing that again. And Erin, have a great rest of your day. Keep on doing what you're doing and winning a good battle out there.
Well, thanks, Dean and Justin, for having me. I appreciate it. Tell Bridgette hi for me. Sorry, she
will
stuck in a plane.
We will. She was sad that her
than here.
Exactly.
She was a little bummed that her plane was delayed. I know that she wanted to be here, so on behalf of her, she's sorry that she's late.
Yeah, but she's not sorry.
Come back anytime.
She's not sorry where she's going. To Florida?
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah, no, she.
I think we're all envious of that.
All right. Thanks again, Erin. You have yourself a great rest of the week.
Thank you both.
You
have
bet.
a great day.
All righty. And we'll be right back after this short recess here, and we'll kind of recap what the forecast looks like. How much more snow are we expecting? Is spring even on the horizon? We'll have more on that coming up after the break.
The old barn on your farm is your family's legacy. The memories of generations are stored in one glance at the family barn. This is the true definition of generational wealth. Memories and legacy. Fargo Roofing and Siding specializes in barn roofs including round Quonsets. Whether metal or shingles, straight or curved, visit FargoRoofing.com today to schedule your free estimate and start your barn revitalization.
Premium quality, premium service, Fargo values. Fargo Roofing and Siding.
Oh, can you imagine a stress-free Sunday with family, friends, fun, and food? You can have it when you make Barron's your new Sunday brunch headquarters. Experience a brunch like nowhere else. Your kids will love the customizable waffle bar, fresh scrambled eggs, thick cut bacon, and much more. Plus, while Mama sips on a mimosa, you can wear out the kids in the arcade at Kingpin's.
For a stress-free Sunday, mention My Brunch Headquarters and receive 20% off brunch at Barron's. Make your Sunday stress-free, filled with great food, no cleanup, and most importantly, where family, friends, fun, and food come together for brunch at Barron's. Located off Highway 81 and 52nd Avenue within Kingpins. Go to brunchatbarons.com. Again, brunch at BARONS.com. And don't forget to mention My Brunch Headquarters for 20% off and experience your stress-free Sunday at brunchatbarons.com.
Life is short. Work somewhere wonderful. Join CCRI and make a difference every day in the lives of individuals with disabilities. Flexible schedules make it the perfect opportunity for students. The award-winning culture will make you feel appreciated and supported by everyone around you. No experience necessary. CCRI will provide all the training needed to be successful and comfortable in your new position. If you're looking for a career that leaves you with memories that will last a lifetime, join their team at CCRI. Visit ccrimorehead.org to apply today.
Market reaction to the March WSDA report. This is the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen with this market update. We're talking now with Arlen Suderman of StoneX. Arlen, March World Agricultural Supply and Demand Estimates report is here, and we saw the numbers we expected to change the most did in fact change, but it seemed like the moves were a bit bigger than anticipated with Argentine corn and soy production numbers and U.S. corn ending stocks and export numbers. Can you walk us through some of the highlights of the March report?
Yeah, as we look at the report, we expected Argentine numbers to be the big ones, and they were, with the corn crop shrinking by 7 million metric tons to 40 million metric tons, soybeans coming down by 8 million metric tons to 33 million metric tons. Both of those were a little bit below our estimates and quite a bit below the trade estimates. No changes to Brazil's production estimates. As you indicated, U.S. corn exports cut by 75 million bushels. I think that's a little too aggressive right now. But I do think that after we get the quarterly stocks report on March 31, that April crop report is going to see an increase in feed usage. So that's something I'm expecting to offset some. With exporting less corn, I think that's going to show that we're catching up on feed usage a little bit there. The other numbers on soybeans, exports increased by 25 million, crush cut by 10 million, so ending stocks going down by 15. Overall, this report, in putting in the context of a market that's mainly trading headlines off of Wall Street with the focus on the Federal Reserve this week. When you look at the response to the market, the headline-driven algos gave you initial response, and then within a matter of minutes, we were back to basically trading where we were before the report came out, meaning that even though the Argentine numbers came out below expectations, everything was pretty much what the market expected, and we're back to trading those Wall Street headlines again with a strong dollar at 3-month highs.
That's Arlen Suderman of StoneX on the American Ag Network.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I want to thank you for joining us, and big thank you to Erin for joining our broadcast as well. Some really good information out there, and that's great help for the rural community because
I think it was a lot of information that a lot of people didn't know actually went on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and you were right, Justin. I mean, majority of the state is rural areas, so they need help with like she said, it's don't look at it as a government handout. We've got to, you got to keep things rolling in the rural community and make sure everything's taken care of. So good for Erin.
Well, right, and it's not even just a handout. I mean, they have to. It's like a loan. They have to pay it back too.
Yeah.
So they're not just getting this money for free.
Mm-hmm.
They're just getting it to help out where maybe they couldn't get it from another organization, bank, government entity, and then they pay it back as they continue to grow.
Yeah, but a lot of people view that as a government, for some reason, a government handout. That's what she, that's what she was saying, and that's not the way to look at it. So, but let's hit our weather real quick here. All right, we've got a trio of storms coming. the Three Musketeers or the Three Amigos or whatever you want to call it. But the first one has already pushed through the area. That's exited off into northeastern Minnesota right now. And it dropped about 3 inches of snow through the FM area, a little bit more in Becker, Otter Tail County, where they picked up 4 to 5 inches out there, 4 inches down around Breckenridge as well. But everybody picked up at least 2 to 3, most areas. Some areas picked up 1, but a general 3-inch amount around the FM area. Now we'll see some quiet weather tonight. Then we focus on our next system coming in here tomorrow. I think the morning commute is going to be just fine. But as we head into the afternoon, we'll see snow develop. It'll be light snow. By the evening commute, though, we could see some slippery travel. Winds will be a little breezier tomorrow than they were today. Generally out of the east-northeast, about 15 to 25. So a little bit breezier, probably a little more blowing snow. That snow should wind down close to midnight tomorrow night, and we'll probably be left with about 1 inch to 2. It's not as strong as this last system. It's a little bit weaker. Some areas could pick up 3 inches, but I think a general 1 to 2 out of that.
And the core is heading south of us, as have been most of the past storms.
And that's just been the trend with the LRC cycle. The heaviest snow will be in northern Iowa, southern Minnesota, where they'll get upwards, at least a possibility of upwards of 6 inches. And then we'll see a break on Friday. The winds will start to pick up late in the day out of the southeast as a pretty strong clipper system rides out of the northern Rockies. And as that approaches our area, our winds ramp up quite a bit on Saturday. We'll see snow overspread the area probably by lunchtime. Could be a little sooner than that, depending on the speed of that storm. I know we've got the St. Patty's Day Parade going on downtown on Saturday right around 11 o'clock, and it looks like that's when the snow is just going to start ramping up. And it could come down at a pretty vigorous clip, moderate to heavy snow, as warm air tries to make its way in here ahead of that clipper system. A lot of wind with this as well out of the south. We'll have winds gusting over 30 miles an hour. And you know what that means? Quite a bit of blowing and drifting of the snow. And we'll probably shut the precip off sometime late on Saturday. And then as the system pulls by, we'll ramp winds in out of the north on Sunday, just as strong, gusting over 30 miles an hour. And more blowing and drifting of the snow on Sunday with a few light snow showers, but not much accumulation on Sunday. We'll probably get an additional 3 to 4 inches. We're getting some indications we could pick up an additional 5 inches out of that second system. So we could have an additional 4 to 9 inches of additional snow on the ground as we round out Sunday. And you factor that in with strong winds, and travel is going to be a little difficult around here as we head into the weekend, mainly due to the blowing snow and drifting snow. So just if you have any travel plans throughout the area as we head into the weekend, please keep up to date on the forecast, as we could see some pretty tricky travel here.
Well, yeah, and that just kind of adds on to the snow we already got. You had mentioned that, 3 inches here in Fargo, 3 in Grand Forks, 1 to 3 around the area, localized areas up to 4 around Detroit Lakes and Frazee. So if we have 2-3 inches on the ground, we get 1 to 2, 1 to 3 on this Thursday system. Again, the heavier amounts will be found south of the FM Metro. Then we're at 4 to 5 inches of snow. We put on another 3 or 4 inches. I mean, that'd be a decent amount of snow to get blown around, and it's the loose, fluffy stuff. It's not wet and heavy. There's not a crust built over the snow like the last storm we had. So it'll all be things to keep an eye out for. So make sure you have a safe weekend out there. Pay attention to the forecast. If you have traveling plans, let people know where you're going and when you're leaving, so that way they know you get to where you need to be safe. But that'll do it for us today on Weather and Ag in Focus. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The Jay Thomas Show from sunny Florida is coming up next.
970 WDAY